Greetings of loving kindness, dear ones. And today's practice of Yin Yoga will include a chair. So please do your best Goldilocks around the house to find the chair that might be just right for this experience, and a bolster. And if you don't have a bolster and you're using blankets to build your own bolster, please make sure your blankets are firm and fold them nice and neatly to where the edges line up and you have a good, firm, supportive surface. And then if you have a strap, fantastic, bring your strap. A couple of blocks are always nice to have close by. With Yin Yoga, it's ideal to use our musculature to find our way into the shape and then to drop beneath the radar of effort and just allow our body to drape the shape and be held and supported as we do so. So that as we release the musculature, the yang, the firing of the body, we can drop into the juicy, deep connective tissue and really encourage the flow of our life force by clearing away any traffic that we encounter. So today's practice will utilize some props and a generous breath. So, with that in mind, I am going to also remind you folks that are watching on your smart TVs with the YouTube app to keep your remote control close by and just hit the pause button and stay in the pose a little bit longer than I will today. So I'm going to be moving a little bit quicker pace than I normally teach. So I don't bore you with sitting there watching me in a pose or whatever it is. I want you to feel your way into the pose with me, hit the pause button, and then drop in for 3 to 5 minutes, okay? The longer we're in these poses, it's kind of like the peeling away of the layers of the onion. We get in deeper and deeper and deeper, and perhaps it reveals things to us the longer we're there. The more we get to know ourselves and get to meet and greet whatever it is that's awaiting our attention, all right? So please slow your practice down in a way that maybe we don't usually slow down in life. That is my mighty prayer for your Yin practice today. So get your chair and your bolster and set yourself up with your bolster perpendicular to your mat, and your chair a little bit off to the left. And actually, you know, I'm going to change it up here. Your bolster is going to be parallel to your mat. So it's going to go long ways on your sticky mat as opposed to going across it. And you'll have your chair slightly to the left and your bolster slightly to the right. We're simply going to use this setup to get into a supported lunge. And so just have a peek. I find it magically delicious as we start always with our right foot forward to emulate the way the food moves through the body. Right foot forward so we get a nice deep lunge in the right side body to encourage the movement of ascending colon, liver, gallbladder. And then already I'm noticing I need my bolster a little bit more over to the left. And so we always take a long time setting up the ideal foundation for a Yin pose because we're going to be there a while, right? So just like the entire practice, take your time setting the pose up. So the lunge in the front leg, the heel is beneath the knee. So the bones are stacked, and I'm far enough forward with my right foot so that I can really sink down into a nice deep lunge and feel the hips ultimately squaring off with the head of the mat, right? And then I'm just going to touch and go a little bit and encourage you to hinge to and fro, to woo your way, to romance your way into the hips. And meet and greet. Okay, sweet little hips, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here in the name of love. And then as you feel your way into a nice deep lunge and your body is ready to park it, it says, okay, yeah, you can be here. And then the elbows come onto the supported chair. You know, I like to just soften the landing with a blanket. Find what works for you. And then I feel my way onto that bolster so that it's far enough back that the bolster is actually right up against where my foot meets my leg, right up at that foot flexor, so I can give a gentle flexion through the back foot and hook onto the bolster, and then I just kind of pull my body a little bit forward while the bolster keeps my leg from moving with me to get some traction. And so I'm posting off the four corners of the right foot, the left elbow is posting off the chair, grabbing whatever you will, but just seeing what it takes to pull your body forward, but the bolster keeps your left leg staying back. So for a moment, there is a little bit of effort in your back leg. Gentle flexion through your left foot, and then you find some space in that joint, and you're knocking on the door. And then once you find it, wiggle and ride a little bit, and then release the effort from your back leg. Soften your left foot. Take a few breaths right there where the left leg meets the body. Just allow your pelvis to sink the lowest level. Allow the sitting bones to drop. Keep that right hip in line with the right knee as best you can. And sometimes it helps to take that right hand and wrap it to the chair in a way that has the inner right arm hold that elbow in line with the knee. And then just slowly lengthen out over your support and drape the shape. And get as comfortable as you can and as low down as you can, all right? Find the orientation of your gaze that your neck says, yes, you have absolute permission to be here. And then every so often you check in with your back kneecap, and then you say, okay, am I on the very center strike of the patella? My back leg isn't twisted in any direction. I'm not twisting the column of the knee. And so the back kneecap says, okay, yeah, you have permission to be here. So you check in with all the parts of you to see that, okay, we're all good. And there is sensation. So it's not like, oh, let's make sure this is as comfortable as possible and we can just check out. No, we really tend to the details so that we know we're safe and we can really then drop in, right? So then we start dropping in by releasing effort, lengthening, lowering, hitting the pause button, and going deeper and deeper into sensation, and using your breath to clear out any traffic that you find. So drop in. And then after you've been there for 3 to 5 minutes, you're going to post off your points of contact and slowly roll on to your back knee. Just rolling your spine up bone by bone and coming onto your back knee. Pause at the top, supported by the chair. Deep breath in, deeper breath out. And then the right foot is simply going to slide on to the leg of the chair. So the front leg of the chair, closest to you, is now supporting your foot. And there's an angle. Your foot is coming up the chair. And if there's a way that you can get that leg to really hold the leg of the chair to hold your foot in position, let that happen. And then shift your hips a little side to side. Square the hips off with the head of the mat to the best of your ability. And then we just round our spine back down. And we lay our body down and we use the support of the chair. Once again, there will be a tendency for this right hip to go wide. Pull the right hip into the midline. Use the support that you've got and just lay it down. Belly to thigh, chest to thigh, forehead towards the thigh, or resting on your chair. If you want to, perhaps you can even use the back rung of the chair if you need the chair closer to you to support your upper body. So use your support, use your points of contact, find what is best for your body that allows you to come into a forward fold and drop deep into the hamstring without effort. So ultimately, we're not in the belly of the hammy, we're at the attachment of the hammies. where the hammy attaches behind the knee and at the sitting bone. All right? And bon voyage into your forward fold. This one is juicy. As best you can, stay on the center strike of your heel. As best you can. Try not to let the foot flop, right? Center strike of the heel, using the chair to support us in that being so. Laying down into a forward fold with a nice rounded low back. We're opening up the kidney band. We're letting energy flow throughout the space from the bottom ribs to your waistband. And then again, you'll be here for 3 to 5 minutes. And this is when you hit the pause button and you drop into the depths of you. Deep breath in, deeper breath out. Post off your points of contact to slowly roll up and out, up the spine. Head's the last to rise. Pause at the top for a clearing breath. And then we bring that front leg back. And we take the knees on either side of the bolster, perhaps as wide as the sticky mat. Slide the bolster as much out in front of you as you need to. Wide open ankle with the knees. And then dropping down into child's pose. Again, making sure the orientation of your gaze is what's best for your neck. Stacking your fist if you need to, stacking your hands, resting your forehead there, or cheek to a side. You take your cheek to a side, rest about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes on one side, and then switch and go to the other side and just see how that feels. Take your time now, dropping into child's pose, hitting that pause button in every way. And then after plenty of time in child's pose and deliciously distributing your breath throughout your hip sockets, hand slides down, hands slide down onto your points of contact, and you post off of the earth and roll up your spine. Set up for second side. So the bolster comes off slightly to the side. The chair comes off slightly to the side. So remember, the chair goes right now as we take our left foot forward, and the bolster goes left. So the bolster is there for your right leg as your left foot comes to the outside of the chair. Sliding that bolster back as far as you need it so that you can just gently hook your toes up and under and have just about full extension of your back leg, okay? All right. And the left foot is directly beneath the left knee. We've got the chair where we need it, and then you're going to hinge to and fro. And just begin wooing your way into second side and feeling the story of this hip. And once you've knocked on the door, romanced your body a little bit, you feel your way into a lunge. And you lean into your support, hook your toes on the bolster, post off your points of contact, and just see if you can post off of the chair with your right elbow, post off with the four corners of your left foot, bring your body forward while the bolster holds the right leg back. And you just start to peel into the crease of that right leg, where the right leg meets the body, into the femoral triangle. And just feeling your way in there, just like opening a sacred door, very slowly. Maybe a door with some sticky hinges. That's why we're here. Be sweet, be kind, be compassionate. And then after all the time you like in that delicious traction, pulling your leg out of your spine via your hip, and you just release effort from your back leg, from your back foot, and you start to soften. Once again, ideally keeping this left hip hugging the midline. It's going to want to go wide. Just feel that left hip pulling in towards the center strike and back towards your right ankle as you soften in. And as you soften in, once again, the left knee may want to flop open. Just gently support it and let that left arm come to the outside of it and gently hold on to your chair. And then find a way to rest your head that is kind to your neck. Feeling your hips somewhat square with the head of the mat as you sink nice and deep into your lunge. And the first 5-10 breaths are just feeling your way into the shape that is most medicinal for your body, that best serves you. So take time, be patient, be generous, and feel your way in, and surrender. Once you've used your energy to find the shape, then you just drape it. Hit the pause button and drop in. Just perpetually and continuously distributing prana throughout your body. Wherever the shape is most felt in your physical form, that's where you go with your awareness, your kindness, your breath. And throughout our practice, we do our very best not to abandon ourselves. The mind will hijack the experience, take you out of the room, out of the building, out of the country, and we just come back. Just come back. We use sensation as the portal back into awareness. We can't just inhale all the time. We inhale and we exhale. We remember and we forget. As long as your next breath is coming in, then the ability to remember comes in with that breath. So we inhale and we remember, yes, I'm here as my own best friend. And we stay in our body. We stay in our breath. And then after your 3 to 5 minutes, or more, you post off your points of contact, roll up and out of your spine, to post off and come to relative standing on your right knee. Pause here for a clearing breath or two, shoulders down, heart high. Just feeling the story that each hip has to sing. And then slowly sliding that left foot on the leg of the chair. And then shifting the hips a little side to side and feeling your way into some semblance of symmetry. Squaring off the hips, finding the center strike of the left heel. And then rounding your spine as you take a bow to this left leg. And you give thanks for every step it's taken, the privilege of walking the path, of being on this journey. And if this is an easy pose for you, you don't need the chair to rest your hands or your head, you can come all the way down. Find whatever support is best for your body in this shape and allow some sustainability, right? So you don't come into the yin poses pedal to the metal, because you're going to be there for a while, and the longer you're there, the more sensational it will get, perhaps, right? So we give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room. You don't come right in at 100% and conquer the pose. You just kind of woo your way in. Start at like maybe 50, 60%, and then work your way from there. Again, allow it to be sustainable. Find the shape. And then hit the pause button, drop in. Open up your breath.
Feel the channel of energy opening up the entire left side of the body, all the way through the back of the leg, up the kidney band, the lateral edge of the spine. And deep breath in, deeper breath out. Really leaning into your exhalations in this practice as a way of emptying out any last tension. And then posting off your points of contact and rolling up your spine. Pausing at the top to arrive. And then sliding that left foot back. And once again, we'll move into child's pose as a place of integration. But this time in child's pose, instead of letting it be about the hips with the knees really wide, just try on the possibility of letting it be a little bit more about the low back. So the knees are together, and your bolster is out in front of you. And once again, you lay it down, cheek to a side, stacking your fists, stacking your hands, whatever the orientation needs to be. And remember, if the bolster is not high up enough, and you have blocks, then you bring the bolster to you. You simply put your blocks up underneath the bolster on whatever edge of the block your body prefers. You can go all the way on the tall edges. So set yourself up for success and lay yourself down into child's pose with your knees nice and close together. Drop in. Just soften here. Again, hitting the pause button. And just dropping into balasana, into child's pose as a way of integrating the previous movement and of feeling the story of your bones. Just checking in. After 3 to 5 minutes here, take a nice deep inhalation. A moment of retention at the top of the inhalation. Sneak in a little bit more through the nostrils to top it off as you empty through the mouth. Exhale, 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 all the way to the shore. Post off your points of contact. Chin into the chest, head bows. And this time as we slowly roll up, we keep the head bowed, and we roll the shoulders up, back, and down, and we keep the head bowed. Drop the shoulder blades down into the back pockets. Spread your collarbones. And then just for a minute, take your chin side to side. As if you were saying, no, I'm not going to grip. I'm not going to tense up. I'm just going to open up and let it flow along the base of my skull at the AO joint, the atlas occipital joint. And then steady that movement and continue rolling up your cervical spine till the chin is parallel to the floor. Pause at the top for a clearing breath. Keep a finger on the pulse of how it feels to be you throughout your practice so that right effort is there. Modifications are available. You do what you need to do to practice as your own best friend. And from here, we're going to move into a supported pigeon. So if you had blocks, simply get them out of the way. This time we'll take our bolster perpendicular to the mat. And we're going to begin with the right leg. And you're going to bring the right leg forward into pigeon. And as the right leg comes forward, you're going to post off of the bolster and work towards squaring your hips off. You work towards it, right? It's all approximations. You work towards it. And you check in with your left kneecap. And if it needs a blanket up underneath it because it's tender, that's what you do, because that's what love looks like. Ideally, in pigeon proper, the knee is in line with the hip. The front knee is in line with the front hip, is in line with the heel. So working towards all approximations, working towards a 90-degree bend with the right leg, which is why we're up as high as we need to be on a bolster. Now this is where I would come along and I would put a blanket, 2 blankets, 3 blankets, a phone book, a mattress, Tempur-Pedic, all up underneath your right buttock to get you as high as you need to be. There's no heroic efforts here. Ultimately, get as high as you need to be beneath that right sitting bone to square the headlights of your hips off towards the head of your mat. So take time to set yourself up for success. And then lengthen and lower out over your support. And then once again, you may wiggle your hips side to side and be like, you know, that left hip is still a little bit high. It needs to get lower down towards the floor. So then you get more support up underneath your right buttock, and more support, until you can feel that left headlight on the hip shining down to the floor, right? And then you lay your body down. Allow the chair to support you and just drape the shape. Get soft everywhere that you can. Soft in your feet, soft in your legs. And continue just dropping that left hip down towards the floor. And once you find the shape, hit the pause button. And this time, see if you can stay here like 3, 5, 7 minutes and get into the juicy juice. Remember, no feeling is final. Let it all happen. Just keep going and flowing, moving your breath. If elephant tears fall, congratulations. Just letting go of the past, maybe. Letting go of traffic, congestion, distortion. So as you encounter it, try not to shrink back. Just modify as you need to so that you can be there tenderly with and for yourselves and use your breath to do some sacred housekeeping. After you've had more time than you have a permit to be there, you slowly start to back out. Pause at the top. And then, this is kind of juicy. You're simply going to back up. I'm posting off the top of my back foot to back my body up. Sliding the right buttock down to the floor, keeping this right shin perpendicular to my mat, and bringing the left shin on top of it. Posting off, squaring off. Coming into swastikasana, into fire log legs. This is juicy, juicy, juicy. So if you need to, you get a blanket, you stack it up underneath that left knee, you get all the support you need. If you have the wonderful privilege of sandbags, get a sandbag on top of that left knee. Imagine that you have sandbags right there on your outer hips. I like to take where the thumbs meet the body and hook it right there where the legs meet the body, fingers to the outside, and wrap the outside edges of the hips down towards the floor and get really heavy in the back pockets. Really heavy in the back pockets. And then just drape the shape. Just snail into yourself. Once again, if you want to bring support forward, bring your chair forward, whatever it is you need to drape the shape, you can bring blocks, stack your fist on blocks, give yourself a place to land, and do the best you can, right? Just modify as you need to. Feel your way into some semblance of stacked shins, soft feet, soft heart, soft skull, right? Loosen the grip, let it be what it is, that whatever you've got be plenty. Drop in, hit the pause button. 3 to 5 minutes. When you feel complete in a shape, you take a last few clearing breaths, really leaning into that exhale, and slowly roll out. Scoot any excess support to the side, and we begin coming into preparation for second side. Keep your left leg where it is. Just set it down on the bolster and swing your right leg back. Oh boy. Right leg comes back, left leg comes forward of the bolster. We post off of the bolster and feel our way into the shape for second side. Right? Getting up as high as you need to underneath that right buttock. Get everything that you need to up underneath it so your hips have some semblance of squaredness with the head of the mat. Alright? Then once you've taken your time to get all that you need to, make sure your right kneecap is happy, you've got everything squared off, you've got all the support you need, then you drape the shape. Shift your hips a little bit, tinker around, touch and go, and romance your way in. And then just start to soften and dissolve the resistance. Yeah. Just keep looking for that great softening. Get curious. Where's the armor showing up? No worries about why. Don't weave stories. Just like, where am I having a hard time softening? And can I just invite that part of my body to let go a little bit? Can I help it to feel safe and loved so that it can soften? And you explore that for the next 3 to 5 minutes. And after you've taken 10,000 years getting deep into your back left pocket and feeling for whatever congestion in traffic you can clear there, post off your points of contact, and slowly come up, pause at the top, take a clearing breath or two, just giving thanks the entire time for your body's willingness, your body's ability to feel and heal and explore. Be patient, be sweet, be kind. Then you start to use your back foot to give you some traction, to back up. Shift your left buttocks onto the floor, off the bolster. Left shin slides mid-bolster, and right leg comes on top of left, and we move in the direction of firelog. Post off your points of contact and square yourself back off. Squaring off the shoulders and the hips in the direction of the head of the mat. Remember, yoga is all approximations. And we square it off. We wrap the outside edges of the hips down. We drop into our back pockets to really open up the low back. And we drape the shape. I like to think of a firm tendril just curling into itself. A sacred journey inward. Back of the neck is nice and long as the chin gently draws into the chest, and once again we open up that space from the base of the skull to the base of the neck. Allow your arms to find a position that is softening, comforting, shoulders melting down, belly button drawing deep into the cave of your being. And the breath opens up. Soft tongue, soft jaw, soft eyes, soft skull, soft belly. And then after 3 to 5 minutes here, we'll slowly roll that fern tendril up into the light. Head high, shoulders low. Just pause and notice. At this point, you're perfectly poised to let your feet come into Baddha Konasana in the middle of the bolster. So your feet are in Baddha Konasana. Outside edges of the feet kissing the inside edges of the feet, opening up like a book, right there on the bolster. And then we're going to move into some experience of Kurmasana, of a supported restorative tortoise pose. Ultimately, you're sliding your forearms up and underneath your bolster. Ultimately. And you're just, I'm not saying it's going to be graceful. No one's watching you anyway. Hopefully. And you're just going to wiggle and writhe and work your elbows towards the floor. And working your biceps towards the back edge of the bolster. And you're just going as far up underneath the bolster as your body allows. There's no prize for how far you go. Just keep it honest, keep it real. I like the arms to be shoulder width apart to give you some space. And then you take a bow. And you let whatever you've got be plenty. Elbows dropping down towards the floor. Elbows dropping to or towards the floor. Your back body is rounding deliciously between each of the vertebrae, right? So you've got this big tortoise shell of a back body. Shoulders dropping down through heavy elbows. And then you're just breathing between the vertebra and the disc. And you are just fanning your spine with your breath. Be here for a good long time. Let it be magically delicious. Soften the jaw, the collarbones, the shoulders. Open that AO joint. Just really let your skull move away from the big notch at C7. Touch and go whenever you need to. Wiggle and writhe. And then drop in. Let there be stillness in the body, but great movement in the breath. And then after you've been here long enough to say your mantra 108 times, the hands slide onto the inner knees, and we slowly roll up that sacred spine. Holding on to those legs when you get to the top, however it's comfortable just to be held at the top. Pause and notice. Distribute prana through a few rounds of generous Dirgha Swasam, your three-part breathing. Eyes blink open, and we see that the chair is right here, like, this feels like a nice home stretch, huh? And we get the strap, if you have one, and you can use a scarf to tie your legs together. This is just so you don't have to effort to hold your legs together. If you have a strap, you get a loop, you take your legs through the strap. If you have a scarf or a belt, you just lasso your legs and get a nice, good hold. And then once you've got a nice, good hold, scoot yourself forward and come up to seated on the bolster and let your legs go into the chair. It's nice to have a little soft landing on the seat of the chair. You have a blanket, and you just let your feet be soft, your calves be supported, your hands nice and wide. Scoop your tail up and under, tuck your chin into your chest, and slowly lower down your spine, vertebra by vertebra, bone by bone. And the purpose of the bolster here is to scoop your tail up and under. So make sure that bolster is low enough down on your being that it's actually giving you a posterior tilt of your pelvis and spilling your pelvic bowl backwards. So your hip bones, your frontal hip bones, are moving back towards your arm domes. And then you find whatever position it is that feels best for your arms to be in. So ultimately, in traditional Shavasana, corpse pose, the arms are close to alongside the body, reaching your fingers to the wall beyond to take your shoulders away from the ears, Tucking your shoulder blades gently down into your back pockets to spill open the wings of the heart, the collarbones in a nice wide smile. Roll the head a little bit side to side. Release any last congestion. Let the head find center of its own accord. And then soften your arms and your legs, your hands and your feet. Allow your spine to unwind. All the muscles that attach to the spine loosen their grip. The belly softens. The chest. The breastplate. The breast tissue. The collarbones soften. The shoulders, the biceps, the forearms, the fingertips, soft hands. Feel a great softening arrive in the throat and the back of the neck. Feel all the muscles that attach along the base of your skull, loosening their grip. The skull cap slides off. The face softens. The tongue, the jaw, the eyes relax down deep in their sockets. The space between the eyes softens. Everything about you has surrendered and is spilling out all over the floor. Liquid body, liquid bones. Open the valve on the back of your skull and allow this to be the exit for thought. Any mental constructs that form, we just let them drop through the back door, down into the earth, like clouds floating in the sky, not getting involved, just allowing the thoughts to come and go. As the awareness now rests on the spaces in between. Perhaps the space in between the thoughts, the empty sky beyond the clouds, the sweet, soft spaces in the body, the sukha. Drop into your sweet spots. Just be in sensation. Allow everything else to dissolve. And if the mind leaves the experience, you just come back to your breath. With the next inhalation, you're home, back in your being, back into awareness of the sukha, the sweet spots. I offer you the traditional closing prayer for world peace and encourage you to just stay in Shavasana on behalf of all of those who are working so hard for others, for their well-being, our first responders, our caregivers. Please rest on their behalf. This is community service. Our slowing down into stillness and silence, doing our part to bring about peace in a chaotic, loud world. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all beings in all worlds be happy and free. Om, peace, peace, peace. Jai Shri Satguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Victory to the light within. May we be good. May we do good. May we love all. May we serve all. Namaste. Peace to all. Light to all.